Hello and welcome to another episode of News from the Gelding. Okay, I'm sorry, but I haven't prepared a great deal for this week. I've been a little bit busy, started a new job, and the drawing I've been working on that I was hoping to show you today went wrong. So I'll talk about that a little bit in a second. So what I'm going to do is later I'm just going to do a tour of my website. If you haven't been there already, I'll just show you the main areas. Then you won't have to go there. Also, I'm having an art sale. So I'm having to clear out of all my paintings, and I've reduced the prices low because I just want them to go now. They're not really selling, so yeah, maybe buy one if you like. Okay, so as I said, I started drawing. So the cover, the first cover, has this kind of green background, which is based on a drawing. And for each book, I want to do a different kind of design. So that drawing is then later colored in Photoshop. So I started working with a new design, which I want to have a kind of woven look about it, because of a race of people that appear in the second book called the Weave Folk. Next week, hopefully I'm going to have that drawing ready, and then I'll show you the inspiration for it. But I tried a couple of different designs and they just weren't working, and they look too different to the previous cover. I want there to be a certain amount of continuity between the two, even though they differ in design. So I'm going to redo that. I've also made a very basic this thing out of cardboard, and I'm hoping to stick the webcam on there, and then I can film the drawing as I'm doing it. So hopefully it will look slightly better, a better angle than the last one. It's not a very good setup, but I think it might give a better idea of how I work, possibly. Okay, so the other thing was I started my new job, and I only started yesterday actually. And it was okay in the morning. I've been given a car, and I just had to pick up one student. But unfortunately, the poor boy, he suffers from severe, what is it? Well, he's autistic, very, very autistic, and too much has changed, so it was a different car, different people, and he was going to be going into a different class. So it was all too much for him. So we didn't take him in the end. So I was passed on to another job, driving a minibus for a few other students, which is quite fun actually. But the van, which is just outside, is absolutely massive. It only just fits in my driveway. There's a poor chap that lives next door, and he uses the driveway to get to his back gate to get his bike in there. I'm pretty sure there's no way in hell he's getting in there. So I don't know what he's doing, but if he knocks on the door, I'll move it, but there's nothing else I can do. Anyway, that's only for today, and then I'll hopefully be starting my normal run from Monday. Hopefully. Okay, so that's all for the week. So let's do the website tour. Now, I've just done a couple of tests, and it's already saying that frames are being dropped. So I don't know why. I think my computer's struggling for some reason. But anyway, let's try it out. So I'll switch the view over. It's saying they're dropping again. Stop it. Right, there we are. That. Right, here we go. So this is the website. Wait a minute, where am I? Where's my? There I am. Yep, okay. Right, brilliant, flawless. So on the first page, this is what you'll see. I spent absolutely ages making this website. I've made websites in the past, but years ago, and then they didn't have to be responsive, so they didn't have to go down to smaller sizes or anything like that on mobile phones or anything like that. So it was an absolute nightmare for me working out how to do it using tutorials and things like that. I mean, the amount of time I spent on it, if I just paid someone else to do it, it would have probably been more efficient, but at least I know how to do it now. And I quite like trying to overcome problems. So one of the problems I had was that I really liked this header, that I wanted it to be some trees and they be kind of like a kind of canopy over the top of the website. But that caused no end of problems. But in the end, I got there. So if I show you, if I make it small, it's not going to look good, but yeah. So when you resize it, it resizes down to a point, and then it chops the sides off, so it fits on a mobile phone quite nicely. Anyway, that's all that. So you can read about me, a little bit of a biography about some of my past. It's also on my Amazon page and all that. I go down a little bit more and it just talks a little bit about painting and some of the paintings. So these are paintings that I've done over the last 10 years, just random ones really. The one on the top left there is actually, I think, the second painting I ever did. So I started painting quite late really. I used to do more drawing. So yeah, there's that one, and then if you follow it along, it gets more recent. So the one in the middle here, and this one, and the last ones, these I did this year. Now, some of these are actually for sale. So this one, and this one, you'll find in the sale for £30. Quite nice price, I think. And this one here is the painting I did for the front cover. Now at some point I'm going to make these available I'm going to make prints, I think, for that one, if you fancy that. And again, it's going to be a nice price, I think, because I don't like charging too much and people don't buy it else. Yeah, so okay, so the next page is books. Another interesting little thing about this site, if you view it on a larger screen, the background changes color very subtly. It's just something I played around with. I found the code for it and bolted it on. I quite like it. Okay, so here's the books. Here's the first one, one that was released last month. There's the blurb, and then some little links to go and buy it if you like. I've only got 4 here, so UK, America, Canada, and Australia. You can buy it in all different marketplaces, but I can't, if you click on one of these, it will redirect you to wherever you live, and buy it from there. Second book, Temple of the Cloven, it will be called. I haven't done the cover, so it's not there. And hoping to have this released in autumn, but we shall see about that. I've actually started writing again, so I'm hoping to get that done before Christmas. And then the last book there is Raining Sushi and Donuts, the book I wrote 2013, I think, about my cycle ride across Japan. If you want to check that out, do so. I've reduced the price of that as well. It's quite cheap now. And there we are. Okay, the next page is The World. So this relates specifically to the James of Galandar series of books. So I'll just read the top here. The following scraps of paper were found beneath the floorboards of a former psychiatric unit in the winter of 1989. They are believed to have been put there by a former patient by the name of James Gelding. Some of the images have been hastily drawn, whilst others are far more elaborate, apparently printed from carved linoleum tiles once covering the floor. Okay, so I thought it'd be interesting to explore some of the aspects of the books in a slightly different way. I'd make them as they're kind of they're made by the protagonist James Gelding once, later on, so to speak. So again, it adds to that idea of whether it's a delusion or not. So at some point he's made all of these artifacts based on the other world. So you can pick whichever one you like. I'm just going to do one. So this one here looks interesting. Crumpled paper, and it's a drawing. So it's the drawing I based the painting on. But each of them have a different side tell. They're the lino cuts and the map. But it's worth coming back here now and then, because I will add other illustrations here now and then. Perhaps even ones that don't appear in the books. Just put them there, really. I hope eventually there'll be lots of little pieces of paper. They're all scrunched up and you can explore them and see what else is going on there. Okay, so news. I decided just to put links here to other things. So the main news is news from the gelding. So that's where you are now. There's also a link to Goodreads where you can leave review if you like, if you've read one of my books. There's Instagram. I use that occasionally. I put pictures on there of fantasy art that I like occasionally, things that I'm working on, and adverts for my latest episodes of News for the Gelding. Don't do too much on there. And Twitter, I hardly use at all. I don't like Twitter, but I've left it there anyway. Okay, so finally is the shop. So eventually I'm going to have this as a place where I'll sell directly, so I can cut out whatever I'm using. I was using Etsy, but I've had enough of them. I don't get any traffic whatsoever, and they also, they're taking fees for even posting images on there. So I use eBay these days. I get far more views, and people do occasionally buy them. They tend to want them cheaper than they're kind of worth, but that's just one of those things. Right, I'm going to get off here now, because when I jump around it seems to drop frames, so I'll get off there now and go back to the camera. Okay, there we are. Whilst I'm talking, I'll put a few paintings up here. These are all available through that link on eBay. It's still dropping frames. I hope it's going to be okay. And as I've said, most of them are £30 or cheaper. There's one for £15, one for 25 or whatever. But you can even offer me less if you like. And the price includes postage. So wherever you are in the world, it includes that. So I'm not making a great deal, but yeah, I just want to sweep the floor clean of work and maybe do some new ones. Plus I need the money. Right. Okay. That's not a cry for help, by the way. If you like any of it, feel free to buy it, but I don't want charity, if you know what I mean. Right. Okay. I think I'll leave it there now. What I'll do next week, so this week hopefully I'm going to be just focusing on this drawing. So if this headband contraption works, there'll be a little time lapse of me drawing it. Plus I'll talk about the imagery I've used to inform the design, again based on Japan, or an aspect of Japan. Okay, I better leave it there. Have a nice week, and I'll see you next Friday if all goes to plan. Cheerio.